one of the things I'm going to try to do is record in some fashion all of our classes. Because I think at some point you're going to get near somebody, or you may test positive or something else, and we're going to have some flexibility. The other thing is, if we talk about something in class and you forget, hey, guess what? You can go back and rewind. I won't guarantee. I am not an Emmy Award-winning producer of videos, and we don't have a lot of extra time. You guys are probably already going, man, where do you guys find the time to do all this stuff you do now? Where am I going to find all the time? So these are pretty raw, pretty rough. If I say something weird, I apologize, because sometimes our brains gets all whacked out. So I can't share that one on camera, but I have a great one for my wife one day. Remind me, and I will share what my wife said in front of every faculty member of Lincoln Public Schools. And I will share that one with you. All right, so you guys get to see me up here, and I know a couple of you here, so I can torture you. So I want to introduce you to some of the people in my life, and we're going to change things around. So that's my wife, and that's my youngest, and that's my oldest daughter, who's got the goofy face on right there. So this was actually taken a couple weeks ago in Aberdeen, South Dakota. And I don't know if any of you have ever heard of BMX bike racing. If you haven't, it's something kind of really cool to see, and I'll show you a quick video of what it kind of looks like. So that's what they do for fun and giggles. They're 8 and 10 years old, 9 and 10. The one had a birthday this weekend. Yeah, don't forget that. So they're going to school down in Fall City. Anybody from Fall City in here? Okay, I can badmouth Fall City, because there is a student that will be in here from Fall City, and happens to be actually my niece, but she's off right this week. So this is kind of my family. This is one of the things that they enjoy doing. I don't, because I don't like to break things. So we'll take a look at it, and you'll see kind of what that is. So there's what I like to do. That's a little more fun, my idea of a bicycle, right? Does anybody ride motorcycles in here? None of you. Well, you're not allowed to touch anything that might hurt you any worse at this point. So, why am I not surprised, Chris? So, this is my little toy baby, and I got it out this weekend. What you can't see, because the picture's pretty crappy in here, is on this side, there's actually a tank of nitrous hanging on there. So this is kind of a toy little road rocket. Yeah, your fat, old, balding 50-year-old professor rides a motorcycle with nitrous kit on it. So there's the girls all masked up, ready to go to school. And because I'm cheap, I also drive a little Prius, among other vehicles. And we'll talk about how technology impacts a lot of those. So because a lot of you have not probably seen BMX racing, I just think it's really cool, and I support it. And weirdly, because of COVID, this state is actually benefiting greatly. They have what are called nationals, and this is a national event. People come all over the country, thousands of riders bringing in millions of dollars into the economy. Because of COVID, next weekend there's going to be a race at Lincoln in their track. There's only 2 tracks in the state, Lincoln and Omaha. Lincoln's getting a national, which is unheard of for Lincoln to get that many people and this entire organization to be there. In October, because of COVID, Omaha's going to have a national. Brings in millions of dollars. So COVID is sometimes beneficial. So this is what it looks like. You're on a gate, and that slope is about like this. It doesn't look like as much, but you're on a slope like that, and you're balancing your bike to take a start. Let me see if it'll actually play. And so the rider on the far right over here taking off in the lead, that's the 10-year-old right there. And so if you can see that track, it's pretty crazy. And from a picture, it doesn't look that bad. I've tried to ride it. Holy crap. So they bank into corners, and you'll see them do. It's a crazy sport if you ever get to go watch it. If you have kids, it's great. If you're cheap, it's not so great. The bike that she is riding right there, I have over $2,000 in it, in a single-speed bicycle. So you'll see us, we're paranoid about them, and we've actually had a couple get stolen. So they're a little crazy. So that's a little about me. Well, here's what I want to know. I want to know one thing about you, and I'm going to do this in kind of a weird way, because this fall we have to record attendance. Normally, I don't care. If you want to be here and learn, great. If you don't, hey, that's your choice. But because of contact tracing, we have to not only take attendance, but we have to know where you are at. And what we're going to do in here, everybody sits in front of a computer, right? You see a number? Memorize that number, because guess where you're at every day for this year? You're kind of stuck here. And I know that's sad, but we're going to have you kind of go around, and I'm going to go around and ask by number and try to figure out who everybody is. I will guarantee I will butcher everybody's name in here. I don't care if your name is Mike. I'm going to butcher your name at some point. That's just me. I don't do it intentionally. But, so I'm going to actually ask for whoever's at computer 2. There should be a number 2. The one, oh, you're on number 1. Oh, yours are. It should be. Are you guys on evens over here? Odds. Oh. All right, my little scheme didn't work quite as well when they redid it. All right. So instead of 2, let me make you as 1. I'm going to have you stand up, introduce, and say one quick thing about yourself that's unique. Something unique. Where are you from, aren't you? Sydney, Iowa. The home of the largest rodeo that runs around. Okay, so I'm just going to pick on you guys since you're my odd men out here. I'm going to pick on you at number 3, ma'am. Oh, they actually opened over there. Cool. What? Is there an Iowa train? I'm going to start over here. So you are on computer 8. And are you from Iowa too? Oh, dang. I thought maybe the whole table was. You have a look like I've heard of Iowa and I don't want to do it. Nice. Yeah, because we're right here. You're on number 10. All right. You look like we've isolated you way over in the corner here, don't we? So let's pick on you. So you're on number 24? Okay. All right. How was the trip out here? Oh, you drove. Oh. Did you drive with like a family and? Oh, nice. And you both managed to make it. You didn't like strand each other, like going, "You're out of the car. We're gonna." Just checking, because sometimes family trips can be less than exciting. All right, you're at number 28. Let's see who you are.
Yeah, I'm Matthew Evans. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, and I love playing inside.
Huh. That's a sport we have yet to bring to our campus. Okay. Nice. All right, let's just move around. You look more eager. Oh, from Ashland. And I know your boyfriend. Your boyfriend is a neat guy. I did not know you were from Ashland, though. What number are you on? 17. Okay, so we're evens and odds some places. Okay. Did you go to school there in Ashland, too? Nice. Oh, so, okay. So, weirdly, the 2 girls you saw up there are actually adopted. Their 3 siblings actually live in Ashland. You don't know any of the Simpsons down there, do you? On Euclid Street or somewhere down there. Anyway, yeah. We actually looked at a house when we bought, and I have never seen a house as bad as this one I looked at in Ashland. Ashland itself is really a cute town. We went in this house, and they must have had like 30 ferrets, cats, dogs, and they let them just use. It was horrific. Our real estate agent walked in with us, turned around, and went outside and puked in the yard. And I'm like, well, we're not going to buy this house. So, my real estate story of the day for you. You're on the volleyball, and you should be on number 19, right? 15. Okay. All right. I know I haven't picked on you yet. Long Beach. How did you end up from Long Beach to here? I I have been Long Beach. So I went to several conventions there and stayed on the Queen Elizabeth out there, or Queen Mary, sorry. And it's a pretty cool thing. It's an old ship and it's converted into a hotel. It's a beautiful city, honestly. We had one of the times we stayed there right before Halloween and we did the whole tour and do the whole. It's pretty cool. And then we actually, the place we were originally going to get married was actually up the coast just a little bit there at Crystal Cove State Park. Yeah, it's beach, it's sand, it's not Nebraska. No, 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 no. The Long Beach, I mean, there's a little dock and it's kind of some eating place, but still don't go in the water. Luckily, when I was there, it was October and I wasn't getting in there anyway. All right. You were on our baseball squad, aren't you? I thought so. All right. Sorry, just trying to pencil down all my goodies here. Are we down to one last table? Anybody I have not picked on other than this table? Who wants to jump up first? All right. Nice. Nice. Again, Puerto Rico to here. There's no beaches, guys. I can't argue. I can't argue with that. All right. I'm trying to stay away from you guys. I'm used to getting right in everybody's face. So it's a. Oh, what's your accounting firm? Nice. So you're probably getting ready to graduate then pretty soon. Oh, year after this? Nice. What did you think of the accounting firm? And as an intern, you don't exactly get the glamorous parts, do you? No. Stanoshek. That's got to be a Czech name, isn't it? Is it? You're not sure? Okay. I see a lot of constants in there. All right. I think I have. Did I miss anybody? Will I know your names today? A couple of you I kind of know already. I will learn your names. It's going to be a little more of a challenge for me, quite frankly, because I'm like, oh yeah, oh you got a mask on. Great. I can't tell. I can't see your face. I will also say that years of doing things like concerts, loud motorcycles, my hearing is not the greatest. So if I look at you and I'm kind of like, huh? What? Try it again and speak up, because sometimes I just can't hear. And with the mask, I know it's hard for you guys to probably even hear me. So we're trying everything we can. All right. So I introduced me. We introduced you. I have one more thing I would like you to do, and I think I'm going to give you about the next 10 minutes to do it just really quickly. It'll help me because hopefully you will put a picture in there. If you will log into Blackboard, we're going to use Blackboard in this course a lot, and we're going to change some things around a little bit. This class there will be some fluidity, especially if we end up coming off campus and trying to figure out what's going on. So if you will log into Blackboard for me. All right, so if you will log into Blackboard and go to the discussion board for this class, We're not going to do discussion boards every week because, quite frankly, I hope we can all talk in here, right? But I know if we're split classrooms, depending on how many people end up in the final enrollment, it's going to make it a little difficult. So I use these as kind of a repository so we can see a couple things. So there's actually 2 introductions. The first one, I would love it if you would throw a picture in there if you could find one of yourself, so that I can try to put a picture and try to figure out everybody's names. Because I recognize faces, but putting names to them is going to take a while. So the other alternative is we wear name tags, and I don't want to do that. Does anybody want to wear name tags? Oh, thank goodness. Okay. So if you would introduce yourself. So I'm not really sure. Find something interesting about yourself that you didn't tell us in class, something new and unique. So I've decided this summer to buy a second house in Lincoln because I wanted to have 2 mortgage payments. Those kinds of, whatever, something interesting. So something I can associate with in a picture would be great. Part 2 really sets the tone of some questions. If you have specific things that you are interested in, so for some of you, this may be your only CMIS class you get aside from the 101. But what I want to do is we're going to talk a lot about how information systems and business work. So if there's something specific in here that you want to talk about, make sure you answer in part 2 of that. Does that make sense? That way I know what your career plans are and I can tailor some of this. So this class, we are actually, I love it on campus because we're able to be a little more flexible. So if something happens, so last spring, if we would have had this class live, we would have talked a lot about things like Zoom and said, wow, I wish I would have bought Zoom stock before the COVID because went from 20 million customers to 50 million overnight. So those kinds of things. So I'm going to give you about, why don't we give you till 9 o'clock, or well, 10 o'clock. I guess that clock needs fixed too. Wonder if there's anybody tall enough in the classroom to grab that for me and change it. Was that subtle? Could you pull the clock down and we'll move it to the right time? That's going to drive me crazy before the end of the year. Oh, maybe he can't. I have a lot. Wait, the guy who's broken his back, several bones. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. No, I'm actually going to have you do both of them. The other thing I'm going to have you do, I don't think anybody's hit submit, put the computer number you're on in here just so I have a permanent record of it too on top of mine. So when I go back and I start turning those on, thank you very much, Chris. I'm going to open these doors just a little because for whatever reason, this room gets hot and it's cooler out in the hallway. Let some air in. All right. The first one you'll need to turn in today. The second one, if we don't get it finished, you can certainly finish that after class or at some point today. How about that? We'll give you a little. All right. think so. I don't have any next door in this class right now. I think the 101s, I think, are all going to be that way. This one will be, I've got like 4 students missing, so they'll come back. Correct. Yep. Let's see. I'm going to try to get the rest of that wired up today, hopefully. Life goes as planned. Question, I will probably try to repeat it back because I have a microphone and you guys don't. So that way that whoever, if you're listening to it online or if you're stuck at home or whatever the user issue is, that you can also see why I'm answering or why I said something. All right, so a couple of things. The syllabus in here is going to be a living document this year. It's a little different this year, for me anyway, because I want to cover current events and I want to talk about things that are happening in the world around us. So some of this may change, and I promise it will change, hopefully all for the better. Hopefully we have a magic vaccine coming around and suddenly we're able to talk and communicate and have 32 people shoved in here. That's my dream hope. But here's a little bit about me, where my office is and my office hours. So my office is actually right next door. You guys are free to stop in anytime. Sometimes I even have coffee available. It's not a bad place. Come in, visit, say hi, how am I doing, ask questions. I post these office hours, so Monday, Wednesday, 11 to noon, and Tuesday, Thursday, 10:30 to noon. That's not a lot of office hours, is it? This is one of those weird conversations. Am I in my office a lot more than that? Yes. If I post them as official office hours and I'm not able to be there because I'm in a meeting or something else, I have to actually take them as sick time. So we get punished for putting more than our minimum 5 hours up. Are we there more than that? Yes. Make sure if you want to make sure we're there, go ahead and send an email. My email goes straight to my phone. I am usually pretty quick unless I'm in class to send it back. If you're wandering around campus, you'll find me in this spot a lot unless there's a classroom going on, or, well, now next door also, because we're trying to do all kinds of new things. You'll see some TVs hanging out, and if you look up in the corner there, you'll see a security camera we just hung and some other new things so that we can try to join these 2 classrooms together. So look around here if you don't see me. Send me an email. You can also use, so the 872-2259 is my office phone. And for years I've said we have the world's crappiest phone system. We finally upgraded our phone system last year. So now if you leave me a voicemail, it goes to my email, and eventually I will find it. If you want to get an even quicker method, I actually give you a Google Voice number also. That number you can even send a text to. I know a lot of you are texters, not while you're driving, right? I've seen you on the road when I'm on the motorcycle and you're texting and scare me. So 402-957-1320 goes. It actually sends it as an email to me because it's not the actual phone number I have. But I will see your text message and I'll be able to get it. So lots of different ways to get a hold of me. And we were going to have some Zoom options and some other. I've got a Zoom room that I set up most of the time. So I'll set up a link for that. And we're going to try some other new tools in here if you want to get a hold of me that way. Even in the evenings, I'll usually answer email. 5 to 7:30, 8 o'clock is probably a rough time because I've got kids and all that fun stuff. But I will answer you as quickly as possible. If for some reason you don't get an email back in 24 hours, if that's the way you sent it, either send another email or another alternative method or something. Our filter does grab some emails. And so one of them I noticed that it really doesn't like to send through. How many of you have a Yahoo email account? Oh, you're raising your hand over there. For whatever reason, our filter tends to grab my Yahoo mails, and I haven't figured out why. So send it off the campus email site if you want, if you don't get it the first time. I will almost always respond within 24 hours. So if I don't, that means something went wrong in the process. So obviously, when we meet. There is the Cengage Unlimited. How many of you bought the Cengage Unlimited already? How many of you need to go out and buy Cengage Unlimited? Most of you. How many of you have multiple classes using Cengage, or you don't know yet? So if you have multiple classes, it's the greatest thing in the world since sliced cheese, because it's like Netflix. It doesn't matter how many classes you take, you can use that same subscription for all of them. That's the good part. The bad part is, if it's the only class you need, it's $119. But the cost of the books have went so crazy, it's not a bad way to do it. The book itself is like $129 now, if you bought just the hard copy of the book. Crazy. I would rather do the online. The other piece we're going to look at is there's a lot of resources online. So you have to have the Microsoft or the Cengage piece to be able to pass the class. We're going to do a lot of assignments online that way. And there's a lot of helpful pieces in there. So there's all kinds of stuff. The other really interesting thing, and we're going to try a couple of other courses in here, is we can actually grab content from another class and throw it in here from another book. It doesn't have to be just this book. I can look through everything Cengage has and says, man, I really like this lesson from another textbook, and I can throw it in there. So that makes it really, really nice for us to do that. What are you going to need in here? Well, you're going to need some kind of a word processor. Hey, lucky for you, you have at least 2 models that you can use. Everybody in here right now has a Google account, right? For your email? Well, there's Google Docs, and you can send it on that. There's free tools we'll look at later. But here's what's really exciting this year the college ponied up for. We ponied up, and now you guys can get a free copy of Microsoft Office, the full version. Download it on your computer. You guys have Office 365 now. That used to be about $80 a year as a student if you wanted to go buy Microsoft Office 365. It's not any longer. We include it. So that's the really good thing. Now the bad thing, at some point they're going to change your email just to make life miserable. Because we're going to switch over from Google Mail to a Office 365 email. When we do that, life will get exciting for a little bit. But you need to have a word processor. They're everywhere, guys. Nothing in here will I torture you with. We're going to use some spreadsheets. Does everybody have access to a spreadsheet? Yeah. So nothing really exciting there. We're not asking a whole lot of you. I'm not going to make you buy a whole bunch of expensive software. So what kind of things do we need to do in this class, or why are we taking this? And what I really like to think about is we're trying to figure out how you and technology can lead towards the future. Do you think almost every career you're going to need technology? So I'm going to pick on you because I know you did an internship in a CPA office. They're not doing stuff on ledger paper anymore, are they? No. If they are, then that'd be every business we get into is going to use technology. You guys both play baseball, right? I'm working, trying to get you. Is there technology used in baseball? Everything. There really is. Baseball, they look at all the stats, and they will try to pick your team against another team and try to figure out, which pitcher's up, what are his stats against left-handers. We use technology in everything. Almost every baseball team has somebody that's just a technology person. If they're not doing it for the statistics side, are they doing Facebook and social media? Yeah. Recording videos. We used to actually, if you wanted to watch another team, you had to send somebody out there and videotape it yourself. Now, does almost every school participate in like a video sharing service through Huddle and some of these companies? Yeah. So the world is changing around us, whether it's CPA firms or whether it's baseball or other sports or hunting and fishing. Has that changed? Yeah. Can you imagine without having GPS now going out hunting? How do I get a picture of the deer I just got if I don't have my phone and my camera and everything with me, right? The world has changed. The world has changed around us. So we're going to understand that role and how do we manage it within a company. Because that's where we're going to focus, not just on you as a person, but how am I going to be that spark inside of that company and manage it? Because you guys are all young and energetic. Well, some of you younger, but you're going to be looked at, hey, I just got a college degree. I'm going out in the world. And when you get hired somewhere, who are they going to look to for those technology issues? Is it going to be the guy like me who's in his 50s? Or is it going to be the 20-year-old? Sorry, Chris, I'm picking on everybody else but you. But think about that. You guys are going to be that person they're going to look toward. Develop strategies. How do we manage it? How do we manage it? And so since I don't have anybody in Falls City in class today, I'm going to poke fun at a business there in Falls City. So one of the things I got to do was I was the IT director of their hospital down in Falls City, town of about 5,000 people. They built a new hospital in 2009. So it's been a few years ago, but I was actually serving as their IT director during that process. So I went around to different departments and saw things that were happening. And I went into the health information office. That's where they store all your records. And I saw this lady furiously typing away, and I looked, and she's got a spreadsheet open. And I'm all excited. She's got Excel open. Now, this is 10 years ago. It's Excel. It's still got numbers. And can Excel add and subtract and do all kinds of fun things? And so I'm excited. She's putting in all these numbers for the health information service. And then I just happened to notice what she was doing. Putting in numbers. And then she reached over to this 10 key beside her, one of these adding machines with the tape. She added up that whole row of columns and then put in the total into Excel. Is that using technology at its best advantage? No. And I just kind of went, oh yeah, that's great. Oh, son of a gun, we have some work to do here. So those kinds of things make a lot of difference. Some people, if you show them a shortcut, they all of a sudden they go, oh my goodness, look what I just did. I used to take 20 minutes to go out to Course Hero and copy and paste this in by hand and type it. Now I can cut and paste. That's not a good example though, is it? We'll talk about those later on. How do we do technology and ethics? Human information systems, telecommunications, e-commerce, database, computer security. We're going to touch on all of those. So this is kind of a general wrap-up course. Are we going to get super detailed? We don't have time. We only have, in fact, this year we only have 14 weeks, which is really weird. So the other one I want to talk about is we're going to talk a lot about something called human capital. Because the most valuable part of that company is who? It's really the people. If I look at Google, is Google a company worth a lot of money? Would anybody here want to own the entire stake of Google? Yeah. But what is its value? Its value is information. And where does that information come from? It's from its people. It doesn't have, it's got some facilities, but it's not like General Motors where there's giant car plants, right? That's not where the value lies. The value lies in that human capital and how we generate value. And then I want to look at how do we develop competencies for keeping up with what's going on around us. What kind of models, what kind of things do we look at? If you walk into a business, and some of you may have done that, and you look and they still have Windows XP on a computer, and it looks like it's about 15 years old, what's your confidence level in that business? Is that going to make you think, hey, this is where I want to spend my money? Even worse. I went into a radio station not too long ago, and they'd wanted to do some investigation. And I walk in, and you've always seen radio stations, you have this idea of what goes on with them. Well, they're all really driven off a computer now. The audio comes out of a computer. There's nobody actually sitting there in between songs anymore. I know. They do what's called voice tracking. They put in the audio in between them. But they also have to do, the piece that generates revenue is that billing for services, right? So different companies put in ads, and that's where a radio station makes money. And this company had never upgraded their software. Not only had they not upgraded their software, they had not upgraded their hardware. It was something called a Pentium 1. So this dates back to about 1997. And they're still using it. And you remember the old printers? Do you remember they called them dot matrix printers? And they're sitting there going, and it's like hammering out little dots across the paper. They still had one. Still in use. And their question wasn't, how do I upgrade and move forward? Their question was, can we still get parts for this thing to make it keep working? And it was laborious. So the people that had to interface with this, there's no way to do it except right in front of it. Typing into it was painful, and everything was command line driven. There was no graphic interface. It was just a screen line of text. But they didn't want to spend the money. So if they couldn't get parts for this computer, which is now 20 plus years old, they're in trouble. In fact, it was pretty sad. And they didn't want to talk about how do I spend money to make money. And so you're going to run into businesses, and that's kind of an extreme example, but you're going to run into some that don't have that idea of how do How do I balance that with newest, not so newest, and completely obsolescent? So what are we going to do in here? So there's a whole lot of stuff. We're going to talk in here. We're going to lecture. We're going to try to come in and have you guys talk. So when I assign some reading, I need you to read it so that we can come in and have an intelligent conversation. I'm going to ask for your input. You guys are all smart. Is anybody in here not smart? Okay, good. Because if you raised your hand for that, we were going to have to talk. You guys are all smart. You're college students. I want your valuable input. But I also want you guys to ask me because I have some information, hopefully, in my brain. So if you have questions or difficulties, ask right away. So I did put in the face coverings are required. I know they're painful. I know it's horrible. Make sure you bring one in. If you walk on a campus, you're running late, you forget to grab one. Down in our School of Professional Studies, there are a few paper ones you can grab like these. So make sure you have one. I'll try to have some extra paper ones in my office also. So we want you guys all to be safe. So make sure you follow that rule. All right. So other resources. So online, there's all different kinds of resources, blackboards. Because this is a weird semester, normally I give some weird attendance points. This semester I'm not going to because, well, we're not really sure how to do attendance online and different things. So what do we get points for? So there's going to be a lot of little weekly assignments and different things. Some of those may change depending on what goes on externally. So if TikTok really gets banned by the federal government, which they're trying to do, that may be something we say, hey, let's add a little content area and we'll talk about TikTok. How many of you have made TikTok videos? Oh. How many understand why the federal government would want to ban TikTok? Sort of. So, yeah. And it's not really because our president's a fun sucker, at least in that regard. But yes, we'll talk about those kinds of things. So we're going to be a little more fluid. What I do know is we're going to have 10 reading quizzes. So inside of that Cengage online, there's some quizzes over the reading. So there's two options for you. You can say, oh man, I'm just going to Google every one of those and not read the chapter. Or I can read the chapter and I can do really good on the quizzes that way also. Which way is going to take you further? Do we want to sit there and read 20 pages every night? No. But some of this is entertaining and hopefully we can get you to appreciate that reading and put those in there. So we're also going to have a midterm because those reading ones are just kind of a, hey, make sure you read it. It's my little stick to kind of poke you a little bit. And then we're going to have a midterm and a final. The midterms and the finals will be in campus, on class, and they will be not multiple choice. They are all going to be essay. And you're going to groan and go, oh my God, essay questions, I hate them. Essay questions are really actually better because I can see where your brain is thinking. I can see if you're able to pull out that data and extract it and put it together. Some of you may be able to pass essay questions with a little bit of knowledge and a lot of what we call in the technical trades BS. Multiple guess questions, you're just kind of guessing. And I like the essay because it makes you think. In my opinion, it makes you think a little more. The other thing that with the essay questions, if we do have to move to an online format, it's a little easier for me to check and see which one of you grabbed something off Course Hero or Chegg or something else versus actually did the work. And I'm trying to find ways to be more proactive on keeping people from cheating. And you think, well, why do I care if somebody else cheats? So, how many of you have been to a doctor? Everybody's been to a doctor, right? Do you want to go to a doctor that you found out that he cheated his way through school? Is that going to... No. No. I don't want my dentist to be in there going, man, I better look up this procedure back on Google Hero again. Oh, what? Wait a minute. Time out. So, we're going to try to do that. We want to get this information, but I don't want you memorizing facts and things like that. What I want you to know is how to think, how to start, go out, and creatively think. Because unfortunately, does learning stop when you leave college? I hope not. If it does, that's kind of sad. So we're going to try to get there. So that's what we have for attendance points. There are going to be some discussion boards. I said nearly every week, but it's probably, a lot of times we'll just talk about things in class. I will say the less discussion boards will appear, the more we interact in class. So if you guys all are sitting down and you're typing away going, I don't know what don't look at me, then we'll probably have more discussion boards online. And I would rather actually engage and interact with you. I know every one of you is bright. I would like to get to know that brain inside your head a little better and maybe poke some new things into it. Due dates are set. Now, that said, we know that COVID has some strange things. If you're in the hospital, we'll work around you. If something in life comes around, try to work ahead if you can. But if you get in a car wreck, and we've had things like that happen, just let us know what's going on, and we will try to work as much as we can with you. Now, if you show up in the last week of class and you say, hey, I just didn't feel like going to class the entire semester. Can I do all the work in this last week? That's probably going to be a different answer. But as long as we know what's going on, and that certainly happens. There are times, I'm going to guess with this whole COVID thing, I'm going to be trying to shuffle around my kids, homeschooling them at some point this semester. So we know that life is going to send us some strange things. So just let us know. Grading scale is the traditional 90, 80, 70, 60. Nothing scary there. We do have some new things that are happening around you. Part of it's driven by COVID. So Bobcat 360, you've all seen Bobcat. It's not just the, hey, you haven't been in class, let me whack you with a stick tool. We're also going to put in some other pieces where hopefully we can help you. And I will say from my own college experience, when I went many, many years ago, I was not the best student at 18 years old. I didn't want to get up and go to class. I lived in a frat house. I had better things to do, like nap, sleep in. But we didn't have anything like Blackboard. Nobody sent me an email. Okay, let's be honest, there was an email when I was a college student. But nobody sent me a letter saying, hey, get your butt to class. And in fact, I went to one class, I went the first day and I didn't go again. And I missed the first day, or the second day. I went the first day, missed the second day, and I got kind of stuck. My brain got stuck and said, you know what? I already missed a day, and I'm going to be behind. And I didn't have the brain power at that point at 18 years old to say, maybe I should go talk to that instructor. Because at that point, in a traditional college like I went to, it was a little harder. It was very much the professors were here and we were here. And you didn't just walk into their office and talk to them. If I remember right, they told us they had one office hour a week. And you had to try to catch them on that. And so I hope we're not that. And so the Bobcat 360 we're using to kind of try to also connect with you guys and try to figure out if something's wrong. And we all have life crises. I know it. Chris may fall off a ladder tomorrow and break his back again. It could happen. No, don't do that. Do not get on a ladder. But we know that those kinds of things happen. So work with us. Talk to us. Let us know what's going on. Grade appeals. So if at the end of this class you get a grade that you don't think you deserve, and you didn't get that grade, or you think you got it because I picked on you. So, who can I pick on? I hate people that wear Adidas hats. They're going to fail my class. No. So, if I had that, and that's the reason you got a failing grade, is because I said that to you, and not because you didn't turn in any material, that would be a violation that would work under the grade appeal. It's got to be that I treated you differently than everybody else. Okay, so if I treat you differently in any way, that's a grade appeal. If you failed all your assignments because you didn't show up for class, that's not really an appealable option, okay? But it is out there. So hopefully I am fair to everybody. I will work really hard to try to be fair and pick on everybody. Be fair to everybody. I'll probably pick on everybody because that's just who we are. But make sure that if that is the case, if it's not in this class, if it's another class and you have a reason, the appeal policy is in there. Towards the end of the class, you guys get the chance to file you will come in, we'll give you a survey, and you get to tell us about the class, what your experience was in it. Did I force you to learn stuff? Did I challenge you? Did I push you? Did I answer questions? Did I grade your homework? Those kinds of things are all in there. I will say that we look at them and we say, how can we make our classes better? And sometimes students look at it as, how can I just vent? And so sometimes we look at it differently. One of the things that generally shows up on everybody's faculty evaluation from students, does anybody want to work Any more than they have to? No, probably not. And so I will see, I had to work 2 hours this week on my assignment. Well, the expectation is, and we'll talk about that a little bit about, have you heard the speech about how much time you're supposed to spend in class already? I'm going to give it to you one more time. The expectation is something called the Carnegie model. The Carnegie model says for every credit hour, you should be engaged at least 45 hours. Well, these are 3-hour classes, which means 135 hours of your time should be involved in this class, at least. So what that really means on a normal semester is for every hour you spend in here with me, you're going to spend at least 2 hours outside of class working on this. That said, this semester it'll be a little extra because we have a little fewer. But that's the average student. And so sometimes we have students who struggle and they may take longer. We have some student who may know everything already. They take a little less time. So it's an average. So just remember that when you do those course evals. Disability Services is taking on a little bit of a different role in this COVID. So if you have a learning disability or a physical disability, they can actually set up accommodations for you. And it's pretty common for those to happen. You have to be the one that reaches out to them, though. Nobody's going to hunt you down and say, I think you have some kind of ADHD or you've got a learning disability of some sort. But they're available now. And I'm glad they are. I'm glad they are because we can do a lot of work with different tools. So one of the most common ones we do is people that have learning disabilities, we can extend a test time, for example. So instead of an hour, you may get an hour and a half. Those kinds of things are pretty common. So I know when I talk to my dad, great man, love him to death. He went to college on a football scholarship back in the 1950s. He didn't do so well in college. And what I really think after working with him and knowing him for years and years and watching him do things, my dad has dyslexia. But in the 1950s, they didn't diagnose that. But he was passing as long as he was playing football. But then as soon as his knee got hurt and he couldn't play football, all of a sudden he wasn't in college anymore. And it's kind of sad because those services weren't available then. And when he's done some stuff later on in life, I think that's become pretty apparent. Tutoring is available. So almost all the classes, there is some form of tutoring available through the CAT Center. Don't be afraid to use it. We have some people who think, man, if I get a tutor, everyone's going to look down on me. Does anybody really think that? No. If you go get a tutor, I think you're the smartest person I just met because you're going to get help in trying to understand the material. There is stuff that every one of us doesn't understand. Every one of us. I get reminded every day, I have a 10-year-old daughter. I don't understand anything. That's what I've discovered. All right, so tutoring services. Go there early. Don't wait till you're too far behind. Whether it's this class or another class, we have those resources. Use them. Academic integrity policy. All this says, and there's a link to the whole thing, don't cheat. If you are caught cheating, these are the repercussions that could actually happen. You could fail that assignment. You could fail the entire class. You can actually be removed from school for 2 semesters for cheating. You can actually be told to never come back to the school, and that shows up on your transcript. We've had some students who have had that happen. Remember you guys have all seen the movies and they talk about your permanent record? Your transcripts are a permanent record. They follow you. So even if you say, man, I got kicked out of Peru, but I'm going to go to UNL, UNL is going to request a copy of that. Are they going to let you in if you've been expelled for cheating? No. If you want a teaching license, is that going to show up? You apply at Cooper Nuclear down there and try to get a certificate to get inside the plant. Wait, you were cheating. So those kinds of things matter. In addition, we want you to do your work. You guys all are bright. You can do it. But every semester we have to deal with people that don't. We have people, and I don't know where they get it, because I certainly didn't as a college student. We have people that pay somebody else to do their work for them. You've probably heard tales of this. Well, Do you think if you hire somebody to write a paper for you, they're just going to give that paper to you, or are they going to sell it to other people also? The best one we had was we had somebody who did that. And there are actually companies based in usually in India or other places. And he didn't pay for all the work that he did. So they started calling the college here and saying, hey, we did all the work for this student. We need to be paid for that. So if this guy not only did that, he got removed from our school with a big, hey, cheater. Here's the even worse problem for him. He worked for another college. Guess what happened to his job? They don't want to hire him. So if for no other reason than you don't want that black mark, but you should want to do your work. Is it tempting to go out and try to grab somebody else's answers? Yes. Do I tell you to go out and look at stuff and try to figure out what other people have done? Yes. But when you do that, make sure that it's your own brain and your own fingers typing that up. So, I know I failed a couple of people this summer in a class for that. And they weren't even paying attention to what they were copying and pasting out of, I think, Chegg or Coursera or one of them. And it was pretty ugly. So, make sure you do that. Equal opportunity. So this one is something that has been evolving. And I think in our current contemporary issues around our country, are we starting to figure out that the world is not always equal? And I think that's good, because I think it's finally we're starting to get some of that. Colleges have had this Title IX for a long time. If you remember way back, if you're old like I am, it was originally instituted to get women to be able to play sports at colleges. If you look as a group, women have been historically mistreated in culture. And in colleges, we had all these football teams, we had swimming teams, baseball, and women's sports were very small. And so originally it started as a way to get sports equal, and now it's been expanded into how do we keep college equal? And so do we know that life is always fair? No, it's not. But we're trying to make it as fair as we can. So if you find something that you think is a violation of Title IX, whether it's in academics, whether it's in sports, bring it to our attention. We want to know. If we're doing something that is not fair and equal, bring it to our attention. Maybe we just don't really know. Maybe we're that short-sighted that we don't realize what's going on. Here on our college, it has not been that long ago that male professors got paid significantly more than female professors. In fact, if we look at the history of the United States, do you know what group was the last group to get to vote in the United States? It was women. Women didn't get to vote until, I think it was 1934. Wow. It's not that long ago. And we've still got practices that are not inclusionary. So, I have actually have a friend of ours that got fired from a job not too long ago because she had come out of the closet, essentially, and told her boss that she was gay, and here was her partner, her spouse. And she was fired a week later. Is that what we want in 2020? I hope not. I hope not. Because those are pretty cool people. If you are basing something on race or ethnicity or color or gender or any of those things, I think you're missing out on meeting some really great people. Right? So I just kind of spout that out because I think we don't always do a really good job. And I think the world around me has changed significantly. Because when I grew up in a town and everybody looked like me. And it's kind of sad. So now when we go out, we try to expose our girls to everything possible. Try to let them meet other cultures and see other cultures. So we go do very actively. Does that mean we're perfect? No. So my wife has a saying, because she works with SPS, LPS, and several others, and it's called cultural humility. Be humble to other people's cultures. Just because it's not the way we've done things doesn't mean that it's not a right way to do things. So I encourage you guys to explore that. Meet new people. Try to meet new cultures. Go to Omaha or Lincoln and go to a cultural event. Sometimes you're going to find some really great food, if nothing else. When I grew up out in Russell, Kansas, in the middle of nowhere, would I ever thought about eating sushi? No. Would I have eaten Indian food? No. And now, if I have a choice, I'm going to go find an Indian restaurant, and I'm going to eat some spicy chicken, and I'm going to burn my throat, but it's so delicious, right? Or I'm going to find a Thai restaurant, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So try those things. Try those things. I know, like, for example, you're from Puerto Rico, right? No. Both of us are. I couldn't screw that one up. So even though Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States, are there differences in our cultures? Way different. And you're in Peru. So let us know if there's something really weird. Bring us food and try it. You know, we're always willing to do new things. So experiment with us. Let us all work together, and hopefully we can make a better place for everybody. So if there is something, let us know. The one thing I will say is sometimes, especially in a small town like this, there are some people who are not open-minded at all. And I've already seen some examples of that. You may have heard the term townie. You guys heard that probably. We have had a couple of incidents in the past couple of years with townies driving by and yelling things that are completely inappropriate. If that happens, let us know. We don't want to be known for that. We want to make sure that these people, part of it, I don't think they've ever experienced any other culture. And so that hopefully is where they're at. But let us know. Tell us about it. Let us know. If we can't fix things unless we know about it. And so this is one venue. If it happens in my class, come into my office and say, hey, you said something that was very derogatory and I don't think you even realized it. So, as an example of that, not too long ago, there used to be a state park over here called Squaw Creek. Well, is that derogatory to a lot of Native Americans? My daughter-in-law is a member of a Native American tribe. And so we've had that conversation. And we've said, you know, why do we think so? So why are the Washington Redskins? Why is that offensive, that name? So think about other cultures and other people and those kinds of things. So that's my little blurb on that. Time commitment. You're going to be in here a lot of time. You're going to spend time with me. And what we hope is that you're going to spend about 135 hours altogether between classes, between studying, between research materials, between reading, between all those kinds of things. So here is what I need for Wednesday. Let me wrap that up really quickly. So on Wednesday, I see our... So if you look under assignments, this first link will take you to the book if you've gotten that account created. If you have not, you have about a week to do that. There is a free trial. So that link should work for everybody, whether you've bought Cengage or not. Under week 1, there's a whole lot of stuff in here. So there's a preview of the book. The Unit 1 reading is Chapter 1, if you go directly into that link. What I would like you to do is watch these videos and read about the first half of Chapter 1, okay? We're going to take it a little slow this first week. We're going to cover Chapter 1 over the first 2 weeks. Get everybody into the flow, reading, back into the schedule. See what's going to happen with this whole COVID thing. So read through these and then watch those videos. They're only a couple minutes, but it's better than me lecturing the whole time. Because you guys are already like, man, I'm tired of your voice. We're all kind of in the same boat with this. We don't know what's going on. Let's be safe. Avoid going to giant parties where there's 500 of you, because every college that I've seen that has a story, it starts out with, students were at a party and they all got the COVID. You're laughing already. I can see it. All right. Guys, go be safe. Read the first, about half of that chapter. We should get to that. We'll talk about all kinds of stuff. If you have questions, email, contact, call, wander into my office. If you wake up and you have 101-degree fever, email. Don't come into my office then. All right? Fair enough? All right, let's get out of here for today. I'll just spray them through real quick today, since I was gonna stop a little earlier and I got to talking, so we will give it the hose down. Oh, you're on my 1232? Perfect. Perfect. All right, I'm melted in here. How are you wearing a hat? Okay. Yes. Yep, just Google source. I just want you to get out there and kind of spin the brain. APA is what we generally prefer. As long as you tell me where it came from on this one, it's fine. So that's fine for this one. Yep, we're not. This one's not real formal. I just want to see where you got it from. All right. Yeah. So that one's Friday, and then students can respond to it. It doesn't have to be that long. Just kind of arguing for or against or whatever you've got. All right. All right. Hey. Good. How was the internship down there? I what? No, you could have like the plaza and something that's really cool. Nice. I will say it's actually weird though going to a bigger city right now during this COVID thing because like a Walmart's still closed at like 9 o'clock, which is just bizarre. So it is. It is. I will say I don't think I've been in a Walmart since March, and I don't miss it. It's like, oh, it is. It's a little different. First day so far. No, nobody's ran away screaming yet. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna guess they're gonna end up online at some point here pretty quick. I'm guessing through. Yeah. It won't be long, unfortunately. Oh, you guys are all friends. Oh, this is bad. No. All right. Did you get it pushed in? To graduating? You already put the class in. All right. If you go to, there is actually I think where it is on yours. If you go to class academics and then there's a pull down menu, you can actually pull up exactly what you have left to go. I got to get the classroom ready, but if you want to stop by after this class, I can show you at 12:32. But yeah, it's pretty easy to log in there and do that. So you're in the English 101, 201, 410.
In this online or
On 201. Yeah, no, that's good.
mira, enséñame esta clase tuya online de or this. I think
You haven't done the 101 yet?
I think.
The 101s are all full right now, so I would probably take that next semester.
You?
Yeah. The one, see, those are all full right now. So I would do the 201 and get it done.